let's take a look at our top selections for Dan Illman, Mike Beer, lots of stakes races on tap at the fairgrounds on Saturday. Let's kick things off with race number 10. It's the Grade 3 Louisiana, going 1 1/16 miles for older horses. Let's take a peek at this field. And there are some horses coming off layoffs here with some credentials. And I'm talking about the number 8, Wells by You, Mike. This is a horse that won the Louisiana Derby last year on the lead, so we know he likes this track. We just haven't seen him since the first Saturday in May when he tired behind Nadal in the Arkansas Derby. The original word from Brad Cox after that race was bone bruising. It's a long layoff and a demanding distance off the layoff.
Yeah, and not necessarily an easy spot either. There are some pretty good horses in this race. Listen, this horse has a right to be pretty good, though, Dan. I mean, we haven't seen him since, early in his 3-year-old campaign. Buyers of 96 and 91 early on in his career, suggested that this horse has some real potential and some real upside. We'll just see what he does off the layoff here. Again, it's not an easy race.
And we know he has speed. We throw up that time form U.S. pace projector. Wells by You, the number 8, expected to make the running. I think Blackberry Wine's going to be up close to the pace. Not sure he's as fast as Wells by You, but he should be sitting second. And Grand Luigi is coming in pretty good form. Winner of the Louisiana Classic against Statebreds last time out. He went gate to wire that day. He's the kind of horse that can adapt to any kind of pace scenario. He beat 2 minor next out winners in his most recent start. Probably going to have to do a little better here.
Yeah, I think he is. This horse, I'm not going to knock his current form, and that was a pretty nice win for him last time against Louisiana Breds, but this is a much tougher race.
Captivating Moon, the number 2, would really appreciate some pace up front. Didn't get it last time out in the Tenacious when beaten by a really good horse named Maxfield. The blinkers are coming back on. He's raced with blinkers in the past. He's also cross-entered in a turf race on the card. He's 0 for 10 lifetime on fast dirt, so if it rains, expect to run him here, and if not, maybe we'll see him back on the weeds.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what he does. I'm actually a fan of this horse, Dan. His running style isn't great because he just doesn't really have any speed, so he will need a pace collapse to have his best chance in a race like this one. I am, he's fine on dirt. I am steadfast in my belief that this is a better turf horse, and I'd rather see him in the grass race.
Silver Prospector's taken down some big scalps in his career. He defeated Tiz the Law in the Grade 2 Kentucky Jockey Club as a 2-year-old. He beat Wells by You in the Grade 3 Southwest at Oaklawn Park. And since then, a little bit of an in-and-outer. I really don't think he ran that badly in the Clark last time out behind Bodie Express. I think he might make a nice 4-year-old for Steve Asmussen.
I think so, too. He's a hard horse for me to get a handle on, Dan, because he's run some good races. He's also been in some races where he looked pretty good on paper and just kind of showed up with nothing. So he's hard for me to trust. I thought his Clark was fine last time. His race 2 back, when they brought him back from the layoff, he ran well that day. He always traveled in that race. He always looked like he was going to win. And for some reason, I still wasn't blown away by the performance. I don't know. He can win here. We'll see what kind of price he is.
Blackberry Wine, to me, is the kind of horse that might run to the level of his competition. He has shown flashes, obviously, some big figures, including his most recent start when they dropped him into a real easy non-winners of one other. Then he prompted the pace, and then he drew away under a very hard drive. You put him in against stakes horses and better allowance horses, it hasn't worked out. I think there's something here for Blackberry Wine, and if Wells by You isn't fully cranked, maybe this horse takes over turning into the stretch.
Yeah, I expect him to show speed in this race, and he has run some pretty good races. He is another one that's hard to get a real read on because, he broke his maiden 5 different times before he kept getting disqualified. Listen, I don't know. I liked his win last time. I don't think he beat much of a field, and he got a perfect trip that day. But man, he looked pretty good to me winning that race, and it came back pretty fast.
I think our next entrant might be the sleeper in this race, and that's Indimage, coming in from Tampa Bay down, where he demolished 2 fields, including this race, on December the 23rd, and now winners of 2 other than Performance. Here's a son of Tappet. He's on the outside. He's in cruise control going into the stretch, and he's supposed to beat these horses like this, but this is just very impressive. This is just a Sunday stroll.
Yeah, it is. His last 2 races really do feel like they represent a significant step forward. Now he just has to do it out of Tampa, Dan. I'm always very skeptical of these horses who feel like they find their best form down there when they ship out to try some tougher horses. So I kind of want to see him do it again. But like you, I was pretty impressed with his last 2 starts.
Title Ready is a one-run closer that needs pace. If he gets pace, he always has a puncher's chance. If he doesn't, he's likely to come up short. I'm willing to toss his races in the Clark and Breeders' Cup Classic and focus on that race in the Fayette, where he made a little bit of a run. It showed there's still life in Title Ready.
Yeah, he did run pretty well in that race. And he also, I liked that he came back off the layoff. That was a pretty long layoff first time for Dallas Stewart. And I thought he ran really well that day, too. So I feel like in a lot of ways, I want to say he's the horse to beat. I know he doesn't win that often and he needs the right kind of pace and trip in order to really get it done. But I just feel like in some ways, he just could be the best horse in the race. And I feel like if it sets up the right way for him, he's going to be really tough to hold off.
Talk about long layoffs. My boy Jack most recently returned off a layoff of 1.5 years and did no running in the Seabiscuit handicap on turf. This is a horse who really was a dirt runner. Earlier in his career, he was 3rd in the Louisiana Derby as a 3-year-old, a multiple graded stakes winner. The fact that they started running him back on the turf made me concerned. That long layoff made me concerned. But the fact that Keith DeZormo keeps putting him in these tough spots, he thinks this horse can still step.
I mean, he's run some really good races. He's run some really good races on turf, and he's run some really good races on dirt. So, well, I guess we'll see what he does here. I didn't really want to play him in this race, Dan. He's only second back off that long layoff after, as you said, did no running last time. And I just hate his running style. You know where he's going to be early. He's got to pass this whole field.
A complete polar opposite from a running style is Wells Bayou. We expect to be on the lead, as he was when he won the Louisiana Derby as the favorite last year. He was on the lead against Nadal last time out. Really, the layoff is the only concern. This horse has quality.
I mean, he does. And I guess if he gets loose on the lead, he's going to be really tough in here. He's one of those horses who, early on as a 3-year-old, I wasn't ever really sure what to do with him, Dan. I know that was a pretty nice win in the Louisiana Derby, but he just, got control there. There were no closers at all in that race. So I didn't really know how to rate him off of that. When he came back in the Arkansas Derby, I thought, maybe he was exposed a little bit in that race. I don't know. If he's going to be the favorite in here, I'm certainly not going to bet him. Not that I'll be surprised if he wins.
You and I were fans of Sonneman when he was with Mark Henning in New York. And I wonder if this horse has just turned the corner and has really matured now. You look at this pedigree, kind of a late developing distance pedigree. His last 2 races have been good. I mean, he won easy at Churchill Downs 2 starts back. And then last time out, he took a nice horse to beat him in Maxfield, a horse that's going to make a lot of noise if he stays healthy this year.
Yeah, I think everybody's hoping that Maxfield can stay on the racetrack because he still looks pretty good. This horse ran well to be second to him last time. I agree with you. His win 2 back was very easily done. And I just like the fact that he showed a lot more tactical speed in his recent races, Dan, because he was one of those horses who felt like he would get outrun too often early in his career. And it doesn't feel like that's a real problem for him anymore. I think he's going to be tough in him.
We'll have to deal with an outside post position. Let's take a look at our top picks for the Grade 3 Louisiana Stakes. Sonneman is where you're going. It just looks like he's improving at the right time. I've got him in my picks as well. Blackberry Wine, maybe now's the time where we just learn about him. If he's ever going to be a stakes horse, maybe it'll be in a situation here where he's chasing a horse off a long layoff, has the recency advantage, and gets the jump on the closers.
Yeah, I thought about putting him on top as well. I wasn't, I'm still not totally sold on him, but I did like his last race. I almost put him up there. I'm going to stick with Sonneman, Dan. I feel like he could get the right trip in this race. And overall, I'm just a fan of his. I think he's a good horse.
9643 for Mike, 4593 for me. It's the Grade 3 Louisiana. It's race 10 at the fairgrounds on Saturday. Best of luck.